Thank you very much for that powerful statement, and I'd like to just to echo some of the things that you just said and answer some of the concerns that appear to be floating in the air right now. Just to restate where we are. We have brought forward a piece of legislation that is backed by more than 9 out of 10 Americans, the vast majority of Democrats, Republicans, independents, gun owners, non-gun owners. Everybody believes that background checks work. We've stopped more than 3 million people, felons, fugitives, mentally unstable people, undocumented aliens, people with an dishonorable discharge from getting firearms, and we're trying to close the loopholes which still make America the most dangerous industrialized nation on earth in terms of gun violence. So we're trying to close the loopholes. And first we had a whole series of ludicrous attempts to add new loopholes, to proliferate the loopholes, which we had to reject. Now what we get from my friend Mr. Biggs is an amendment which is cloaked in constitutional verbiage, but I think is almost comical in terms of a statement of constitutional principles. Financial constraints have no place in the exercise of constitutional rights. Well, I've got a First Amendment right to freedom of the press, but do I have a right to a newspaper? Does the government have to buy me a newspaper? Does the government have to pay for me to get a TV network, to get a broadcast license? I don't think so. A citizen's right to bear arms, just like a citizen's right to vote, must not be qualified by the ability to pay a certain sum of money in order to exercise those rights. Well, if that's your position, then I assume our next bill, which I'm happily going to co-sponsor with you, is to get rid of all the voter ID laws all over the country, which are forcing people to go out and pay $20 or $30 or $40 in order to get a personal ID before they're allowed to vote. So I eagerly await your collaboration on that bill. Meantime, the chairman of the committee actually introduces some facts into the discussion. And he says it's not the government which sets the fees. And so far, I haven't seen a single documented report of anybody complaining about one. I don't see any letters, any emails. We don't see anything. And the chairman explains why, because it's not the government which sets the fees. It's the licensed private firearms dealers. So then Mr. Biggs says, well, wait a second, regulations promulgated in this paragraph, and he doesn't finish the sentence, may not include any provision placing a cap on the fee licensees may charge to facilitate transfers in accordance with paragraph. In other words, this provision protects the market principle. It's totally up to the private market to set what the fees are. So one would think at this point they would have the modesty just to withdraw the amendment and let us get on with the business of making America a safer place, which is what the vast majority of the American people want us to do. I yield back to the gentlelady.